Hi friends, my name is Megan and welcome to a special episode of a Naughty Mess Knitting Podcast. I am doing a little fall pattern roundup. What I decided to do because I just feel like I'm on Ravelry a lot and I feel like I've been seeing a lot of fun new patterns coming out. So I wanted to narrow the scope because this could get big quickly, just all the best new patterns. That's too much. So I went through and looked for really fall makes since we all want to make the fall patterns now, and patterns that have come out since June. There might be like 1 or 2 May in here, but mostly it's June, July, August, maybe some in September. But again, I had to have a cutoff date, right? So it's September 26th. But I have a couple to share with you. So what I'll do is I'll pop the picture up here of the pattern. I'll talk a little bit about the construction of my top 6. There's 5 categories, but I have 6 patterns because you know me. And then I'm going to just flash up a couple of the honorable mentions, but I won't talk about them as much. Hopefully this episode will be pretty short. Normally I do like WIP project and finished object podcast episodes, and I used to stick some of this stuff in at the end, but it would just make the whole process super long. So I'm filming at a different time of day so I could get this in and like just focus on this little thing here. So let's start with our categories. Today our categories are going to be our basics, lace, texture, cardigan, and free. Let's go for basic. The very first basic pattern I would like to talk about is this one. This is the Ever After sweater by Claire Jackson. I have tested 2 of the 6 that I highlighted, and some of the honorable mentions, but that's not why I picked this one. So there are a couple of patterns that came out with this look. The drop shoulder thing is in right now. This sweatshirty feel is in right now, but this is, I think, the best of them. I think Claire has thoughtful neck shaping. I think that it is very size inclusive, and I think she has a slightly unique way of pattern writing where she does not just have a string of numbers for you to find what pattern size you're making, or assumptions about what size will fit you. She gives a recommended ease, but she does just make the pattern is the size. So this is, 54 inches. And then she has charts with numbers that you fill in the blank for the pattern piece. It does require you to go through and if you want to fill in the blanks or just highlight your numbers. I typically use my iPad to read through patterns while I'm making them, and I make the note in the iPad and I just blow it up in books and I write it in the note and it saves for me, so I think that's great. The recommended ease for this is 6 to 10 inches and the size range is from size 34 to 74. There are 11 sizes offered in that range, and I just think it's a wonderful pattern. It fits really nicely. It definitely gives a sweatshirt feel. I'll go over yarn for this too. Sorry, I do have a little list of things I want to go through. Size, construction, and yarn. So this is a worsted weight pattern. I think one of the reasons that it has that sweatshirty feel is it's just dense enough. You can do this with DK and lace. That's what she does. One of her sample for this is in that combo, and it's just, it's super nice. I think the sleeves are done well too. She does have this unique piece here that I think is so great, is that she has like an extra wide number of stitches in between the increased sides. So it just, maybe you can't tell as much in this yarn. In the plain yarns you really can, but it just makes that, it's the little pieces, it's those little details. It's all 2x2 ribbing. Yeah, so I think this one is a great one. Okay, so let's talk about, the reason I have 2 in the basics is because I wanted a V-neck version. There are some people that are just anti-crew neck, and that is okay. I didn't do it for all of the patterns because, I was kind of working with a limited set here, but there are still hundreds of patterns that have come out since May. I mean, I think I did look into like the end of May, but like, let's say since June, hundreds. Okay, so I had a lot to look through, but the V-neck of my best v-neck for basics is actually one that just came out last week. This is the Hibernate Pullover by Amy Sher, who is Amy Sher Makes on Instagram. I think this is a gorgeous pattern. It's very basic. It's got a little bit extra ease in it too. It is a lace and fingering or DK weight. So in the test knits, there's definitely both, but there are more that are fingering and lace. So the recommended ease for this, you are supposed to choose the pattern measurement based on your upper bust, which is always an Amy Sher thing because that'll give you the best fit throughout your like armpit area. But it is intended to have 1 to 5 inches at the full bust and hips, and the final actual finished measurements are from 35 inches to 71 1/4. There are 10 sizes, so that's a lot of sizes here to cover that range. It's gorgeous. I really love the collar is like simple. You can obviously do more or less depth with that, which also, as in like how many rows to if you need it to be a little bit more modest. I don't think it's too deep of a V, especially like if you see it on all different sizes on her tester pictures that are featured on pattern page. It's wonderful. This does have it says a subtle A-line shaping, so I think she just gives a little bit extra room at the hips so that you really get that, keep that sort of comfy, slightly oversized feel. Gorgeous. Okay. Let's talk through a couple of honorable mentions here. I'm not going to give as much information for these, but the Metropolitan Pullover, which just came out also this month from Tori Yu, is I think a really, really nice, also fingering lace or DK. Simple pattern. It has that sort of unfinished look that's got, because it's got like, just got I-cord finishes and it's got that eyelets here. It's like, I don't know if that's like edgier, but it's very cute. Okay, so then came out in May. This was towards the end of May, but this is another Claire Jackson pattern, and this is the Compass Crew. This is in here because this is also worsted. You could also do this DK and fingering, is another one. I think one of her samples is that. This one has just those, again, like tiny details that make it a little bit more interesting, and it's such a cute fit. So it came out a little bit longer ago, but I really love it. This one is also a raglan. So is the last Tori Yu one, so a little bit different. All of these ones are great patterns for variegated yarns, or you know, a variegated plus a fluff that's that is tonal, or you know, vice versa. If you want to use up some stuff from your stash and just give you really warm, cozy knits. Okay, here's one that's not as warm and cozy, but I think is still a really great fall pattern, and this is called the Prau. It is by Belen Fernandez. And this pattern came out in September also. It's a really simple fingering weight, circular yoke, top down pattern. There's no fuss to this pattern whatsoever, but I think what's really great about it is, like, she even says this is meant for you to use as sort of like a template for other things that you want to do. It has 3/4 length sleeves and a split hem, so you get those fun techniques, but you could always swap them for something else. You could do long sleeves, you can make this even for short sleeves. And just looking at the tester photos too, it looks really gorgeous in a variegated yarn. This is a great pattern for that. It doesn't eat too much yarn up. And there are a lot of sizes for this too. I've never made a pattern by them, but I think that it's a really pretty option for a lighter weight thing, especially if you're in a warmer climate. Okay, let's go on to two other real quick honorable mentions are the Nebula by Andrea Mowry. And this is a DK weight, but like it's a fluffy thing. So it is got like a high-low detail that's really cute. It's got like I don't want to call it the standard Andrea Mowry shoulders, but it's got the thing that's like in the Weekender that's got kind of like the ribbed looking side here. And it is knit bottom up. And then the other one that I think is really great, and it has a little bit of different, you know, like this has a feature that's maybe not so standard, is it's called the Hazy stripe sweater. It's a fingering and it's a way for you to do Marley stripes. I think you hold like the main color throughout and then you put in your stripe colors. It gives us some stripe type look, except for there's a little bit of different details in here that I think are really nice. And this is by Camry Cutler, and yeah, that's an honorable mention. Okay, let's go to our next category, which is lace. My favorite lace pattern that's just come out in a while is Low Tide by Rachel Ilse. She's unwind knitwear, and she's really known for her color work, like yokes, and she's got some gorgeous patterns, like super gorgeous, like things you definitely know, having seen them all over Instagram and stuff. But this pattern is so pretty. It's like, it's just so feminine and not fussy. I think it's really, really gorgeous. I love, it's got saddle shoulders, so you get this beautiful line that goes down the side, and then you've got like the lace front panel, and it gives that like very pretty kind of like, it's a tied effect. She does recommend that you use the yarn she used for this, which I think is kind of a unique combination, but it's possum yarn. There are lots of people who don't want to use possum yarn. It's also not very easy to get here in the States, but it is really beautiful. That yarn gives a really beautiful halo. I'm sure you could find replacements for it. It is fingering weight. And what else? Oh, so this one comes in sizes from 33.5 to 68.5. Recommended ease is 3+ inches. So what's you're comfortable with, but 3 is the low end. And I just think it's so pretty. I almost tested this, everyone. Almost. I wish I had, but I didn't think I had a yarn that was just perfect enough. Plus it came at a time that was, I had a million other things going on. So that one is definitely on my list for the future. Okay, next, honorable mentions in this category. I think I only have a couple. This one is called the Orna Sweater. This is by Brienne Moody. It's gorgeous. As a reminder, all of the ones I'm sharing that are paid are size inclusive. We'll talk about the free ones, at the end. This one comes in a bunch of sizes. It looks like it's a circular yoke, and it has this like, actually, sorry, Nordland's working on a pattern that seems pretty similar to this right now. It's just got some like kind of alternating brick like lacy motifs that are inside of like columns, but the columns, it's just really fun. Like it just looks like a very interesting and fun, a little bit more complicated looking. Circular yoke laces sometimes like don't fit as well. That's one of the things I love about Low Tide, is that the fit is really gorgeous on it. Okay. And that's an Aran weight yarn. So that is going to be definitely on the heavier side. Going back to a fingering weight yarn in this category, Rubra. This is by Coraline Kiersit, and it just came out this month. It's fingering weight. It's really pretty. It's in English and French, I think, and it's just got this, I think it says the pansy sweater is what, and I guess that's what the motif is, but it's got all of these like kind of that like leaf motif, or like almost like a teardroppy motif, just like on the front and the back. And that maybe it's like a transitional piece, because this one seems like it'd be like an early fall knit. Okay, another one that just came out is Campside Comfy by Alicia Plummer. This is part of her Campside set of patterns. She's got a cardigan and some other things from years ago. But it is just got this, I call it lace, but maybe you would call this texture. It's got like a raindroppy type motif, so it's solid to here-ish, and then it starts being like spaced out eyelets to being really dense eyelets at the bottom. It's very fun. It is very like, gives very like camp vibes. Like you could wear this towards the end of the summer or on a cool night in the summer, but yeah, fun. Okay, so the next category is texture. Texture is it's what everything is about. I think actually Casey just came out with a podcast today that is like textured patterns. She might be reaching further back, but I will talk about a couple of them that maybe she also covered. So if you want to go more in depth about texture knits, go check out her podcast. That's Young Folk Knits. So I've got to say my favorite in this category, and maybe I'm a little biased because I made it, is the Kip. I will say this is maybe not the most perfect pattern out there for beginners, and like, so maybe it's not for everybody. But I think it's so unique. I don't think we've seen something like this with this herringbone-esque mosaic type knit that's horizontal come out like ever in a long time. I don't know. I haven't seen anything like this. It feels so unique. The details are really beautiful with the Latvian braids at all the edging. It is knit. It's a drop shoulder, so it's knit top down, and then joined in the round. And It is mosaic knitting, but you slip in the front. It's just, yeah, it's a really beautiful pattern. It's a very comfy fit. I also test knit this one, and it comes in sizes 38.75 to 73 inches, and the recommended ease is 3¼ to 8 inches. And yeah, it's super, super cute. Okay. Close runner up in this category is the Hayley Sweater, which I guess maybe cables could have their own, because really that is sort of its own category, but I'll put it in with texture. The Hayley Sweater is by Iris H, who is Iris Makes. I also knit this one, also came out in September, or this came out at the end of August. I love the look of this. It's a V-neck cable. It's super scrumptious. It's DK weight. Sorry, so is Kip, but made with woolen spun yarn, so take that into account. But this, the Hayley Sweater has like really nice details. The way she does the shoulder cable matching is very thoughtful. It is knit top down, and it's more of like a set-in sleeve. The shaping on the shoulder, or like on the caps of the sleeve, is really nice also, and just overall really gorgeous. It's got a little bit less ease. It's not like an oversized cable wear, but it's really pretty. Okay, a couple more in this category, because again, we're all about texture right now. Okay, this one's called the Quesnel. Who knows if I'm saying that right. This is by Megan Nodecker, who is Pip and Pin. This pattern is so fun because it's sort of like that take on like the Storm Sweater or the Alver, or all these sort of like sample texture knits that go in horizontal stripes, and she flipped it, and they're vertical stripe texture panels. There are a couple of motifs in this, maybe like 4 across or 3 across, and it's got like some horizontal sort of lines that go down too. It's really pretty, a little bit unique. This is a sport weight pattern, and it's super gorgeous. Okay, this one was actually really close to being the one I picked, and this is the Willow Pullover by Andrea Gown. It's so fun. It's super fun. I think for uniqueness sake, I picked the Kip, but this one is gorgeous. This is a fingering weight, one that would be really good in like a more rusticy wool basket weave pattern. It is knit bottom up, and actually part of the reason she does this is so you feel comfortable with the pattern before you get to do 2 things at once, or you know, whatever, to do the armhole creation, which I think is actually really smart. It's got a little bit more ease. It's really, really, really pretty. And I just think, yeah, it's another, like, she's got a lot of like really great patterns that I think are thoughtfully designed and well executed. It's one of the other favorites that came out recently is the Market Henley. This is a top-down drop shoulder Henley that has a waffle stitch. It's gorgeous. I also test knit this one, and I love it. It's super cozy and comfy. You can do it as a t-shirt, but it's her first iteration, and I think her intention was originally just to make it a long sleeve, but she did go through a t-shirt shaping and sleeves for the pattern, and it's just like so cozy, so scrumptious, looks great in a variegated yarn, but also looks so amazing in a tonal. Okay, the last one in this category is one that I've not seen before, and I haven't like seen any real hype around this, but this is called the Uda Sweater. It's by Esti Duongo, and what I will say is this also reads like a late summer sweater, so maybe something you make for next year. It's got like some sort of like lace in the body and like a V piece here, but it's got bubbles. It's so fun. To me, this is like a little bit out there of a sweater, like not one that I don't know that I would make it, but it's so fun. Like I kind of want to, because I just feel like it feels a little more occasion-y, but I really like it. Yeah. So that's another fun one. And that is made in fingering weight yarn. And I think that would be really great for like a cotton blend yarn or a linen blend yarn. So let's go on to cardigans. My cardigan of choice here is the Sea Glass Cardigan. This is a pattern by Wool and Pine Designs, and it's part of their Sea Glass set that they have. They've got a sweater, a t-shirt, a cowl, I think, a hat. Yeah. So there's a whole set of things. And this is a scrappy type. You could use scraps for this. You could get a coordinating colors. This would be great for an advent, things like that. It's a way to play with colors, but why this is made at the top of the list is because I think their patterns are always gorgeous. They're, you know, pretty, there's some complicated techniques in most of their patterns, but they have video support, and I think that's so amazing. So Abby and Selena do a great job with this. This is DK weight. It is a, let's see sizing. Okay, so this is sized bust from a 32 inch to a 68 inch. The ease you should be aiming for is 2 to 6 inches, and it is knit in a really unique way. So it is knit top down in the round, even though it's a cardigan and you're not steeking this, you are actually just restarting every time. So there's 1,000 ends, but they give you a no tie down, like I-cord finish, which I'm going to pop a picture up of like what's on the pattern page for this. And so you make like an I-cord with them that you tuck them in or something. I don't know, because I didn't buy the pattern and I'm not going to make it right now, but, so fun. And then you can choose to do a shawl collar, or I think there's also an option for a non-shawl collar. It's really, really fun though. What a unique, like what a fun way to learn different technique. So honorable mention here, we've got one like very oversized, and that's our winter's weather knits Seawall cardigan. It's inspired by the Seawall in Vancouver, and it's just like super oversized, but she does use a unique yarn for this. It's listed as super bulky, but it's a blown tube yarn. So I wouldn't just use any super bulky for this, because it would be probably super heavy, because the gauge is kind of, I mean, it's big, it's 12 by 17, but it's like, just the size of it, it would weigh a ton. So, but that one, it's got like a really comfy vibes, and that's like my homebodiness really loves that. I have 3 wrap tops to talk about too, and I guess really there's one extra winner here. The Scotchbroom Wrap is also a wool and pine pattern, and it's so gorgeous. The details are so gorgeous on it. I'll pop a picture here of mine done, but also I'll put one of theirs, but we'll keep it under, the sea glass still wins, I think, for the technique wise, but I think the Scotchbroom Wrap is just, it's so fun. It's so feminine and pretty. It is fingering weight, and it's an all lace sleeve. You do the collar band or whatever at the same time as you're knitting, and you do a really unique horizontal ribbed edging at the bottom, which is your wrap, and it's really pretty. Okay, also in this category is the Brioche Bliss Wrap Cardigan. This is by Simone Ryan, and it is really fun. It's a lace and lace held together, and is just, it looks so squishy and beautiful. I really love it. It's one that I think, like, if I'm craving another wrap top in my wardrobe, like, this is probably the highest on my list right now. And then I also think that the Lilly Blouse is like blouse wrap top, a really fun pattern that's got like the wrap thing, but there's no ties. Do you know what I'm trying to tell you? So anyway, so this one is really fun. It's got like a lace pattern on it. It's really pretty. It's maybe a little more spring looking, but I think it's very cute and would be a nice transitional piece. We're gonna go into the free category. This pattern, the winner for me, is La Rentree, which is by Sonder Yarn Co. Sonder Yarn Co. has some really nice patterns out there, actually. It's lace and lace for a DK weight, so also fun, because somebody else just made that worsted, right? But I think that has to do with like what your stitch count is then for this. And they are using a mohair for this, mohair held double. And it is like the re-entry, like return to school and work kind of sweater. That's what it's meant to be. It is so beautiful and yummy. And I feel like a really great pattern that you could use 2 fluffy yarns and like marl really nicely. That would be great. But it is a circular yoke. It's got a folded collar. It's knit top down. It does have short rows. And it is size inclusive, and I just think it's like such a really, it's a gorgeous pattern for a like cozy elevated kind of look. So I think that's awesome for it to be free. Okay, a couple others I think were really great. So Hobby has had a lot of patterns come out recently because they're working with some designers to like market some of the hobby specific yarns, like the hobby owned yarns. So this one is using Hobby Highland wool, and it is DK weight. It's called the Beachcomber Sweater. It does have really like fun beachy vibes. It is like a waffle stitch. It looks like a waffle stitch. It doesn't say that on the pattern page, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And it's, yeah, like got, and it's a raglan, so it's got like, you know, slightly different vibe than like the Market Henley, but it's really, really fun. Here's the honorable mention for this. This one is a zip. I think this is really great if you're feeling nervous about a zip or the fit of a zip thing. This is called Third Coast by Renee Cooling, and it's a really fun take on a stripy sweater. It looks very beachy to me, but it's not just straight stripes. There is color work above it. So it's just got 1x1 color work above and below each of the stripes, and it's just really cute. I think the effect is great. Okay, another one that's in this free category is the Fluffy V. This actually, you can buy a non-ad pattern for this, but there is a free version on her blog. This is by Lauren Savage, and it is just a really great way to use a bulky, she calls it bulky weight, but it is a also a hobby pattern that is like their upcycled Surrey alpaca, which is the same as like any Surrey DK that you can find. So any Surrey DK you have on hand or that you could get, you could use this pattern for, and it's got a nice gauge, nice big kind of open gauge, but I think it will work well with those yarns, and it's really nice. It's giving me like bulkier ashling with a v-neck. I don't know, that's the vibe I'm getting from it. I really like it. Okay, those are my patterns that I feel like really just sang since May this year as fall makes. I might do a summer roundup at some point, but I'm feeling the fall knits, so here we are in fall land. I'm so excited for you to knit one of these. If you found one that you loved, let me know. If I brought up a good one, great. If I missed your favorite, let me know. I mean, share these. Other people will read the comments. Keep that conversation going. If you would like to watch my regular podcast episodes, they typically come out Thursday night, Friday morning, and you can always keep up with what I'm doing on Instagram as well. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye.